So for this problem, where a poker hand consists of 5 cards from a standard 52-card deck, and we're asking how many ways are there to be a 3 of a kind. In your notes, you said you understand why it's 13 combinations of 1, but I want to verify that you're thinking of it the right way. In your email, you specifically said to me, there are 13 different values of cards, and we choose 1 to be the 13, the 1 to be the 3 of a kind, which is right, but meaning we don't literally choose 1. What we're saying is there's 13 different, ranging from ace to king, and if someone said to you, said, hey, I've got a 3 of a kind, you might respond to them saying, well, what do you have? And they say, I have 7s. You don't know which 7s they have yet. You just know that they have a 3 of a kind and it consists of 7s. So therefore, out of the 13 types of cards, they told you 1. They said, this is what I've got. Now we're saying, all right, how many possible ways are there? We got to count up all the different ways there are for them to have 3 7s. Well, so there's a total of 4 of them, and out of the 4, we're going to have 3 of them. So therefore, they might have the 7 of hearts, 7 of clubs, 7 of diamonds, or 7 of spades, and just how many different ways are there to have different combinations of those. So that's why we have 4 choose 3. Excuse me, 4 combinations of 3. Okay, so I think where you're stuck is or where your misconception was by thinking of this step right here, thinking of that as actually physically picking a card out of the deck. We're not. Someone's just telling you we're going to have. So you could almost think of it as some almighty power has told you. They said, you are going to get a 3 of a kind, and it's going to be. So you don't know it's going to be a 3 7s. So therefore, you don't know. You haven't actually picked a card out. You just have the prerequisite knowledge, knowing you're going to have a 3 of a kind, and they're going to be 7s. So therefore, these two things combined give you the total number of ways of having 3 of a kind. But now we have to fill in the rest of the deck. So let me clean this up a little bit. So now, once we've got that part, now we're going to go back to our thought process and say, okay, well, how many types of cards are there left in the deck? There's 12 of them, and my last 2 cards have to be different suits, because if they're the same suit, I don't have a 3 of a kind anymore. I'm going to have a full house. So out of the 12, I need to pick 2 different suits. And again, or sorry, not 2 different suits, 2 different kinds. So there's 12 types of cards left. There's ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, jack, queen, king. Can't be another 7 because we already have 3 of those. If I got another 7, we'd have 4 of a kind. So it has to be 1 of the remaining, or 2 of the remaining 12s, and I do it in combination, saying the order isn't important. If I get dealt an ace, if I get dealt an ace and a 2, or a 2 and an ace, I end up with the same thing anyway. It doesn't matter what order they get dealt. That's why I use combinations there. So back to what we're doing. So this part here, this part right here took care of the 3 of a kind. So now we're going to work on the other 2 cards. This was the suit, or the types of the cards, but again, it's this almighty power coming down and saying to you, you're going to get an ace and a 2. You don't know which aces and 2s. You just know they're going to be an ace and a 2. So let's start with the aces. So how many different aces are there in the deck? 4. And out of those 4, how many am I going to be dealt? 1 of them. Then once I've done my aces, so this right here takes care of my ace, now I've got to do my 2. So out of my 2s, there's 4 2s, and I have to pick 1 of them. So I end up doing this twice. Once to say what are all the different ways of having an ace, what are all the different ways of having a 2. So just to give you an example here, so you can imagine this, we were dealt 7 hearts, 7 of clubs, 7 of spades. Now that almighty power has come down to you and said you're going to get an ace. So now we could get an ace of hearts, ace of clubs, ace of diamonds, or ace of spades. So then, once I have the knowledge, say, okay, I've been dealt my card, and I got the ace of hearts. Now I continue on. I could get the 2 of hearts, 2 of diamonds, 2 of clubs, or 2 of spades. Or, and I repeat, and this is our tree diagram, this is why it's the multiplication principle, and these things are all multiplying each other. But long story short, I hope that helps put together why all of this takes care of the 2 other cards. And it seems like your biggest misconception was stemming right here from the choose part, because you were thinking of it as literally dealt two cards, where you're not being dealt, you're just being given the information from that almighty power saying this is the type of card you're going to get. I hope that helped. Let me know if that doesn't clear it up.